glorifying Krishna and his devotees. And what better than everybody coming together for the purpose of visiting Bhaktivedanta Manor. So, may I ask you to just take a deep breath and relax. Now notice yourself sitting and just grounding yourself. Because there's, don't be so distracted by all the noise around you. Thank you. Okay, so when we listen to the Bhagavad Gita, before we listen, did you know that there's something very special about the Bhagavad Gita? People think it's an intellectual exercise, but it is one of the heart. So when we call out Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or when we sing, Krishna, that knowledge comes within our heart because the soul already knows this knowledge. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be singing. So please join us. I'll sing first, and then you can repeat after me. And as you're singing, just try and concentrate and keep calm and quiet. And really try to feel, even if you don't understand the words, feel it in your heart. So let's start. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Girivaradhari Jaya Yasodhanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Yashodhanandana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Jaya Brajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Please repeat after me. When we call out Vasudev, Vasudev is the Lord of our consciousness. And all joy and happiness comes when we raise our consciousness. So please call out, repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're going to be reading from chapter 2, verse 37. Now, before I start, how many people know the Bhagavad Gita? How many people know the Bhagavad Gita? You do, madam. So we've just got one hand up in the whole room with about 100 people. Okay, thank you, sir. Glad you know the Bhagavad Gita. Good. So we've got some happy faces. Are you saying all the rest of you have never heard of the Bhagavad Gita? What about the children? Do the children know the Bhagavad Gita? Yes? One chap's nodding. What about you? No. So you're in the right place, my love, because young children, if you know about the Bhagavad Gita, you will work out the secret of life. If you haven't understood or read the Bhagavad Gita, it is the solution to the madness of life. So let's start on this verse. Hato va prapyasi svargam. It's over there if you want it. Hato va prapasya svargam. Jitva va bhokshaye mahim. Tashmad uttishta kunteya. Yudhaya krita nischaya. Hato va prapasi svargam. Jitva va bhokshaya mahim. Tasmad uttishta kunteya. Yudhaya krita nischaya. Would anybody like to have a go? Hato va prapasi svargam. Jitva va bhokshaye mahim. Tashmad uttishta kunteya. Yudhaya krita nischaya. Hato va prapasi svargam. Jitva va bhokshaye mahim. Tashmad uttishta kunteya. Yudhaya krita nischaya. Gentlemen, anyone feel brave enough to have a go? Come on, gentlemen. Anyone? To have a go? Have a go. No? Have a go. Sanskrit's so beautiful, isn't it? Because it's almost like we're singing. Okay, not to worry. The gentlemen are shy. Yes, madam. Hato va prapyasi svargam. jitva va bokshayeshahim. Tashmadutishte konteya Udaya Nitakrisyaya. Thank you. Hata, repeat after me. Hata, being killed. Va, either. Everyone, there's so many people in the room, everyone. Prapashye, you gain. Svargam, heavenly kingdom. Jitva, by conquering. Va, or. Bokshay, say, you enjoy. Mahim, the world. Tasmat, therefore. Utishta, get up. Kunteya, O son of Kunti. Yudhaya, to fight. Krita, determined. Nishchayaha, in certainty. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Repeat after me, ladies and gentlemen. O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Even though there's no certainty of victory for Arjun's side, he still had to fight. Therefore, even being killed there, he could be elevated to the heavenly planets. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we've just heard right now is Arjuna. He's in a difficult situation. He's in a battlefield, and he's a little bit worried. He's paralyzed by fear. How many feel fear in life? It is yes, it's absolutely right. It's the human condition to feel fear. Because right at the end of the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says to Arjuna, surrender and do not fear. I'm your friend, I will protect you. So, ladies and gentlemen, we all feel fear. Fear of exams, fear of messing up, fear of making mistakes, fear of getting wrong, fear of losing our job, fear of losing our partners, fear of death. It goes on. It's so long, the list, you wouldn't know where to start and begin. Now, a little bit of honesty. Could somebody share what they're scared of?
Everything you said.
Everything. Okay, everything, yeah. Yeah, absolutely, madam. These are things that we all as human beings are going through. So Arjun's a bit paralyzed because he's a good boy. You know, when you're a good boy and a good girl, you don't want to get it wrong, because that is the name of the game. You were told as a child, be good and do the right thing. So it's inculcated in Arjuna to do the right thing. So he's actually really paralyzed with fear, because he's thinking, I don't really want to fight my relatives because I love them. And I don't want to be in this position. How many people have found themselves in an awkward position where they didn't ask to be in that position, but they're stuck with it and they've got no choice? Yeah. It's in Gujarati we say suri vache sopari. You know, you're kind of right in the middle and you've got the jaws on both sides, and it's either side you think, well, you know, it's gonna go pear-shaped. But Lord Krishna, who is so kind, he's our friend. Lord Krishna is so merciful. He is the well-wisher. He is the well-wisher of everybody. Now, sometimes people don't understand. They think Krishna and Arjuna are having a conversation. But who is Arjuna having a conversation with? You don't want to have a conversation with somebody who doesn't care about you, because what are the chances of getting the right advice? So that's the first thing, ladies and gentlemen. In life, we have many gurus. We have many teachers. Here, Arjuna has submitted himself to Lord Krishna to guide him. And we often, in life, we should all have somebody who loves us and who we can trust, so we can go and open our heart out. Now, the reality is, you can count on your hand who you can go to, that you can trust, and open your heart, and the whole world won't know about it. That confidentiality. So Arjuna is speaking to Krishna to guide him, because he's feeling this anxiety. I don't want to fight, because if I fight, I'll have to kill my relatives, and then I'll have the kingdom. But I'll have the kingdom with the thought that I had to kill them to enjoy it. So I'm a bit worried about that. And then if I don't win, I don't even want to fight. But Krishna is saying, you have to do your duty. You have to show up, ladies and gentlemen. We all have to show up in life, because there's no running away. So the overview of this is that So the overview is that later on in the, later on in the Bhagavad Gita, there's another verse. And in that verse, it's verse 247, Krishna tells Arjuna, you have a right to perform your duty, right? Everybody has a right. They have to do their duty. And you have to do it in the prescribed duty that you have. But you're not entitled to the fruits. So this is where we go wrong, ladies and gentlemen, because we want to get it right and we want the fruits. Because that's why we're having a go. That's why sometimes we are endeavoring. Sometimes we go over and beyond our endeavor. And often when we do that, there's a price to pay, isn't there? There's a price to pay. If you're a family member and you have to work long hours, what's the price? You lose your family time. Sometimes you have to overwork. So what's the price? You lose your health. So there's always an offset. But what happens to the person? They're attached to the outcome, because they think, if only I get that extra pay, I'll be able to pay the mortgage. I won't have to worry about the bills. I won't feel anxiety. Or if I work hard, then I'll have the car that I want or the house that I want. But Krishna here is saying that you have the right to perform your duty, but you're not entitled to the fruits of the actions. So what does that mean? If you're not entitled to the fruits of the actions, isn't that why we're doing what we're doing? Most people are doing that because in the end, you think, okay, I've got to survive. But here, Krishna's giving almost a paradoxical advice to you. Don't be attached to the outcome. Because the reality is, ladies and gentlemen, it can always go pear-shaped. When I was setting up a project, it was millions and millions of pounds project. And I always remember somebody saying to me, your head's on the line. Your head's on the line. What does that to a person? What does that do to a person?
Restlessness.
Yeah, restlessness, pressure, like it's all if it goes all pear-shaped, it's all my fault. If my kids don't toe the line, it's all my fault. If things don't work out the way, it's all my fault. You don't need somebody else to beat you up, because you can do it yourself. So, Krishna is so kind, he's telling us, ease off the pedal of attachment. If you really want peace in this life, then that's the first thing you start thinking about. Look, it's not easy. It's not easy. Everything we do, we're attached to the outcome. You know, whatever we do, we want it to go right. And so all the time we're thinking, it's me who's doing it. I'm rocking up. I'm doing it, because if I don't do it, who else is going to do it? That, ladies and gentlemen, is the false ego. Because here we understand that there are so many factors at play. So Krishna is saying, never consider yourself the cause of the results. Isn't that a paradox? Because we all think we're the cause of our results. But there are so many aspects, seen and unseen. Like, for example, let's say you're working on a great project. The project is great. You're working hard. You are right on top of what you need to do. But you're working with people who might not be showing up. The project might go pear-shaped. What happens then? Arguments, intense, frustration, blame, shame, humiliation. All of these things happen. But if you just listen to Krishna's advice here, ladies and gentlemen, it is the secret of peace in your daily life. Krishna is saying, never consider yourself to be the cause of results, and never be attached to be doing your, and never be attached to not doing your duty. So do your duty, don't run away. Do your best and leave it to Krishna, because what Krishna wants will happen. Now the false ego says, I'm not buying that because I want it the way I want it. Because the nature of illusion is I want to be in control. But here, you know, you're taught time and time again, I'm not always in control. So what Krishna really wants us to do, ladies and gentlemen, is act sincerely. Do your duty sincerely, but the results are not yours. So if someone turns around and says it was her fault, the blame, the shame, the humiliation, you know what? You got to have a what do they call, a thick skin, and let it go over your head, because you know that whatever you did for Krishna. Shishi Radha Gokulananda, Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Shishi Gornitai, Srila Prabhupada, Tulsi Maharani Ki Jai. So Srila Prabhupada is saying that this verse is the basis of karma yoga. The devotee focuses on action as service. I'm going to do what I do as seva for Krishna. Because then, if it goes pear-shaped, I don't have to worry, because Krishna's got the big plan. And so without being disturbed by gain or loss, real freedom comes when we offer the results to Krishna. Krishna Arpanam. Whatever I do, whatever I eat, whatever I give away, I do it on behalf of Krishna. So let's come back to Arjuna, because, you know, we want to apply this in our daily life. And Arjuna fears defeat. He fears dishonor and loss. So Krishna reframes it for Arjuna by, and reframes winning and losing. Because both items are success of what he does in terms of his dharma. The lesson is there's no failure when you're acting in devotion and integrity. So this is really important factor, ladies and gentlemen. You know, recently in India, in the universities, they were saying that there's a high proportion of suicide amongst Indian students because they're under so much pressure to perform. And that's because we're so attached to the outcome. We're putting pressure on children to perform, which may not even be, they feel so beside themselves, they'd rather take their life than to face their parents, because what will they say? So here, you know, if you've got children, or even for yourself, this is a very, very, very important lesson, There's no failure when acting with devotion and integrity. Because if I fail, Krishna's got another plan for me. If it succeeds, okay, it succeeded for now. So we want to be equiposed. So let's now kind of deep dive into what does, anxiety about failure. The two verses that we have just covered show Krishna addresses fear. The first verse that we've just covered today, 2:37, Krishna is saying, whatever happens, you win. Success or failure. If he gets killed, he'll get the heavenly planets. If he succeeds, he'll have the kingdom. So, instead of thinking really narrowly, the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita that Lord Krishna is, can I just say, ladies and gentlemen, the Bhagavad Gita belongs to the world, but it's also, many of you are from Indian families. It is your birthright, Bhagavad Gita. And if you don't know it and your children don't know it, you're losing a big gift and something that's going to help, It's a blessing because, do I take a tablet and put my pain down? Or do I read the Bhagavad Gita and I feel empowered? Because when I'm empowered, I can do something about my life, but I can help others. So the Bhagavad Gita, ladies and gentlemen, is so important. What I would say to you is take it so seriously that, if you don't have a copy, get it, read it. And if you feel that you can't read it, when I first started reading the Bhagavad Gita, I looked at the pictures, ladies and gentlemen, because I couldn't understand the text. Because it's a great secret. And what it requires is not the brain, not the academic. I did a fellowship at Oxford on the Bhagavad Gita. But what I realized was it is not an academic exercise, ladies and gentlemen. It's one of the heart. If you open your heart and you say, Krishna, please help reveal to me what I need to know right now, he will reveal it to you. If you go onto the Bhaktivedanta Mana website, there are so many classes on the Bhagavad Gita. You will change your life. This is a game changer. When Krishna is saying there's no failure when you're acting with devotion and integrity. So what if your marriage goes pear-shaped? So what if children... As long as you did it as a service for Krishna, you don't know what the bigger plans are. But we think I'm the controller and I've got to get it right because otherwise the whole world's going to blame me. I'm a failure. Look at your failure. Yes, go on, sir. What's your question, sir? Do we control the duty? No, we don't control the duty, we do our duty. But yeah, because when we try to control our duty, we control everything around us. Yeah? The duty means I take care of my bit. Because otherwise, if you're dealing with the lame, sick and the dead, you're trying to fix them all, you forget your duty. So what you want to do is just focus on your duty and do the best in your capacity. Guide, support, engage, interact. But then when you think, okay, this is a block, I can't go forward on this, just do your duty and leave it to Krishna. Don't be attached to the outcome. I used to be really scared of wanting to succeed. I wanted to be really make something of myself. Because, when I grew up in the 70s, you were told, that girls worked in Woolworths, and that was even white girls. Forget the Indian girl. It was like, okay, you have no future. There's nothing there for you. But so you want to fight the system. And in fighting the system, you start fighting life. And that's not what Bhagavad Gita is about. Bhagavad Gita is show up, do your duty. And then leave the outcome for Krishna. So this is the thing. Has anyone ever told you that whatever you do, do it for Krishna? Do it for Krishna's pleasure. We're told you have to do it and you have to show up and you better get the results. Because if you don't get the results, you'll put shame on the family or you'll put shame on yourself. That is a very perverted way of thinking, ladies and gentlemen. We've all experienced it in one shape or form. Now, the person who told you that is not at fault. They're your teacher. They're here because they're showing up because you had to learn that pain. So you don't go around blaming the person who told you that. You thank them and say, okay, there was some karmic reason why I had to experience this, but now I know better. So the next verse, like Sir asked, he asked about the question about controlling. It's not so much about controlling, but it's about being detached. You know, the nature of the ego is, I want to be the best. I want to have an outcome. This is who I am. This is my body. This is my title. This is my position. But here, one of the things Krishna wants Arjuna to understand is be detached. He's not saying avoid it. Krishna isn't saying avoid your duty and walk away. So Krishna says in verse 3.8, perform your prescribed duty, for action is better than inaction. And without work, even maintenance of your body would not be possible. So here's the one who thinks he's thinking about clocking out of life. Forget it. You're not meant to clock out of life. You know, I'll go into the forest, I'll leave everything. That's how I feel sometimes. I'm going to just leave them all and just head off to India and go somewhere to the Himalayas and I'll be fine. Well, Krishna's saying, no, you can't do that. Krishna's saying you have to do your duty because, you know, the realization is you have to do your duty to get the diamonds of realization. You know, in your childhood, you have to do what your parents tell you. In your married life, you do what your husband tells you, your wife tells you. You know, later on, you do what your kids tell you. All the frustrations, whether it's at work or relationships, all of that, you sit tight and you do your duty. Because when the time comes to renounce, you will have enough realizations to know exactly how to renounce. Otherwise, if you keep running away, ladies and gentlemen, you won't learn the lessons. The Krishna is so wonderful that he gives this understanding that, you know, we have to be detached. Detachment doesn't mean avoidance. So what does this mean? That it's always better to act, even imperfectly. If you get it wrong, it's okay, but better you do your job rather than trying to do someone else's. I remember saying to my staff once, you know, because that's what the ego thinks, I know better, or you're impatient. You know, you start doing things for them, and then one day you realize their brain's going to shrink and mine's going to explode because I'm doing so much. But actually here, Krishna wants us to do our duty. Focus on what you have to do and let go of others. And even if you get it wrong, you know, sometimes we sit and think, okay, the grass is greener on the other side. Should I have gone over there? Maybe I should go there. But Krishna is saying, forget that. Stay where you're at. Do your dharma, do your duty. And then you'll get the realizations. Prabhupada says life itself depends on responsible action. We all have to take responsible action. So escaping one's duty is unnatural and destructive. I'll repeat it again. Life itself depends on responsible action. Escaping one's duty is unnatural and destructive. So there's another verse towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 18 where Krishna says to Arjuna, this is just reinforcing this verse that we have read today, because Krishna throughout the Bhagavad Gita is reinforcing and strengthening this message. And in 1848, Krishna says to Arjuna, one should not give up the work born of one's nature, even if it has some fault in it, for all undertakings are covered by faith, just as fire is covered by smoke. So, this is interesting because when we go to school, everyone's expected to be a Shakespeare and a Pythagoras. Yeah? But actually, in Vedic culture, you take on the position or the role in life based on your nature. So, as a good Indian mother, I used to say to my son, yes, you're gifted and talented in information technology. Yes, you should go there because don't you see, you're performing really well on that. And my son said to me, but it doesn't make my heart sing, Mum. It's not my nature. So I say, well, what does sports do? Rugby isn't going to pay the bills. So that's where the poverty mentality comes, the mentality where you intercept and you're telling, because somebody said that to me. I wanted to study geography. But my mother asked my cousins, and they said, the sciences are really good, physics and chemistry. I sat for 2 years not understanding anything. So, the way Lord Krishna is advising all of us is, what is your nature? Are you artistic? Do you have flair? Or are you really logical? Like my daughter-in-law, she's an accountant. She's very mathematical, very logical in her thinking. But that's her nature. She's suited to her work. But if we are trying to force ourselves, this is what this challenge is for these students. In America, the statistics are saying that children, teenagers, are at more risk of dying from their own hands than anything else. So how we've got to a state in society where even children don't even understand what their nature is. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is really important verse. Krishna is saying that, we shouldn't give up work, particularly born of our nature. And even if it's faulty, you undertake it because, it is the process of actually freedom. So what does this mean? No duty is perfect. Isn't that right? Because we're all trying to be perfect, aren't we? Perfectionism. Yeah, I've got to get it right. Got to get this right. Got to tick dot the I's and tick cross the T's or whatever, yeah. And actually what it does is it paralyzes you, because perfectionism is, I've got to get it all right. I used to feel like that as a mother. I feel so responsible. I've got to raise my children really well. And then my son, who's a professor and he's in his 30s, just told me the other day, stop it, Mum. Stop telling me how to do things. I'm a grown man. So that nature in us sometimes to be so perfect, even I'm telling you this, but it's hard. But at least the awareness is there. Okay, I tripped up. I really try hard, but then every now and then I think I know better and I give the advice, and then I get it back and I think, okay, I have to be humble. Because I want everything around me to be perfect. I want everyone to be perfect, because I've forgotten that my job is over. As my children keep reminding me, it's okay, Mum, you can take a rest now. You don't have to keep telling us what to do. So, here, Krishna is telling us, so this, whatever I'm sharing with you is instruction for me. No duty is perfect, and we must continue sincerely despite the imperfection. The ego doesn't like imperfection. The ego thinks, why is it like this? It should be like that. We get irritated with people. We get irritated with our loved ones, our partners, our children, sometimes even at work. So every action has some defect, but if you abandon your duty, I realize this, that if nothing is perfect, because it's space for you to grow, isn't it? Yeah. Wouldn't you say that? We're not born perfect. Everything is there. The imperfection is there for us to grow and grow through the imperfection. And you know, what if the imperfection is perfect? Because it's Krishna's plan. So stop beating yourselves up. You know, if you're looking for perfection in everything, then there's a delusion, isn't there? There's a delusion that, you know, so we all might as well be like robots, you know? So Prabhupada says that every action has some defect, but abandoning your duty makes us regress. We don't learn the lesson. Progress comes through commitment. So let's think about application, because I've told you sometimes I slip up as well. So let's, all of us, just do a meditation exercise. So just notice yourself being grounded and take a deep breath in and out. When you do the Shitali breath, where you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. So, dear Lord Krishna, you're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the cause of all causes. You've instructed us that we have a right to our duty, but not the fruits. Please help us to release the pressure that we've put on ourselves to be so attached to the fruits. Enable us to just do our duty, perfectly or imperfectly, and offer the outcome to you. Now I want you to just think about a past failure, a failure that you might think you've failed. And flip it over and think about that failure and think, what blessing did that failure bring? What growth in my life did that failure bring? Okay. So what are the skills, ladies and gentlemen, and behavior that we require to be able to apply this in our life? Anybody know? Anybody fancy sharing? Any thoughts?
Let go.
Yeah. What skills or behaviors do we need in order to apply this in our life? Let go. Surrender. Have patience. Yes. Yeah. Patience. Patience helps us to surrender. Grace? Yeah. Depending on Krishna's grace. Depending on the grace of others. Okay. So some of the skills we require is courage. Courage. Equanimity. You know what? Instead of flipping, maybe I can just take a step back and just be calm. You know, I don't have to get so emotional about it. Women tend to get more emotional than men. I can take responsible action. So what's my behavior? Ladies and gentlemen, what would our behavior be if we want to try and apply this verse in our life? Don't get distracted. Just stay with me. What's the behavior, sir? What's the behavior? Come and sit here, please. What's the behavior? Calm and peaceful. Thank you. Come. Come and sit so we can all be part of it together. Otherwise, I've got people looking at me from the back. It's not a nice feeling. Come. Take time to connect with Krishna. So yes, taking time. Sincerity. Maybe I can try and be a bit sincere. Maybe I can be a bit more committed. And as the gentleman said, Sir said, surrender. I'll try and surrender. The ego doesn't like surrendering, right? But humility is the absence of the ego. It goes, okay, you know what? I can be a small person. I don't have to be the dazzling, the singing and dancing presence, that social media presence. We see so many people on social media, they're showing all these wonderful things, and deep within them, they're just so sad, actually, because they're losing that real-time engagement. So yes, we want to be able to surrender, and success is in determination, not results. Okay? If we keep remembering this is one good thing. Now, if you've had A-level results or you've had your degree results, somebody will say, well, that's not quite, Of course, we have to endeavor, but the results aren't often in our control. What your partner does isn't often in our control. What your colleagues do is often not in our control. What your children do is often not in your control. The ego, the stronger that person tries to control everyone. Who's lived with a person where you're completely controlled? What you eat, what you think, what you say. We don't want to do that. Krishna doesn't want you to do that. Krishna is saying success is your determination, not your results. So I'm going to ask all of you a question, a really important question, and for the children here. How do I react when facing failure? Yeah, but how do you react, sir? So you're like a sadhu already. I'm going to learn from it. But what else?
Get upset, yes. Get upset.
We feel sad.
Go on, sir.
I think a bit upset, but at the same time thinking of offsetting also.
Yeah, but the reality is, the first reaction is, I feel sad. Sorry? Yes. What else? Why did it happen to me? Yeah, I must be a failure because it's happened to me. So-and-so said to me, I'll never be something. Now it's happened. They were right and I'm wrong. And then you beat yourself up because frustration comes in. But it's almost like to the point of death where I think it's not even worth living because I'm just a complete failure. I failed in this. Disappointment. Yeah. So, Krishna, this is what was happening to Arjuna, yeah? Arjuna wanted to give up because he was thinking, well, I'm a bit of a failure, aren't I? They've been controlling me all the time. They tried to kill us. They've taken our kingdom away. Now I've got this army, but my army is smaller than theirs. And, well, success is going to be challenging. So we all feel like that, ladies and gentlemen. What Arjuna went through, we're also feeling. But if we have Krishna on our side, then we will always have victory. So, how would life change if effort mattered more than results? Sarah's going, oh, yeah. How would life change if effort mattered more than results? You'd be relaxed. Peace. Satisfied. Growth. Yes, because your mind is open. You're more open. You're not stopping. You're learning from it. Your heart is open. Your mind is open. And you're looking for the next opportunity. And so this is now the real $1 million question. Why you're all here at the temple. How does devotion to Krishna transform failure into victory?
You feel that God has some better plan?
God has better plan for me. What else?
Surrender.
You surrender to Krishna. I surrender to Krishna, yeah. Yeah, because that's what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita. Sarva dharma parityanjan. Yes, keeping Krishna as a companion in your day-to-day efforts. Guidance, yeah, guidance. you wouldn't be so hard on yourself, would you? Because you know that I'm loved. You know, the interesting thing is Krishna's with Arjun, but Krishna's with all of you. He's in the heart as Paramatma. He's there as the deity. He's Brahman. You know, sometimes we also, when somebody, a wise teacher, a guru or a sadhu or shastra informs you, you're never alone. You know, Paramatma, you wake up and Krishna's with us all the time. But we've forgotten. We've absolutely forgotten Krishna is with me. He's the Paramatma. He's the super soul. So please don't think that this, the Bhagavad Gita is just about Arjuna and Krishna. It was out there. Krishna is waiting for us to turn to him as well. So please, ladies and gentlemen, I implore you, especially those who are wonderful parents, you know, do it for yourself in terms of learning about the Bhagavad Gita. It's never too late. If you want to overcome the suffering of life, then the Bhagavad Gita is the absolute remedy in your life. It's your compass. It's a compulsory subject. Do you study it? You do. Good. Yes, it's like a compulsory subject. But it's fun because it reveals things to you that you didn't know that you knew. Is there one thing somebody's found out new today that gives them hope? Or anything that anyone heard today that gives you hope? Yes, even in your failures, you're not looking at your victorious side because there's something hidden for you. Yes, there's something better out there for you. Yeah, because the ego is ego, edging God out. The ego thinks, I'm in control, I'm in charge. And when it goes well, see, I did it. Can't you see how great I am? And then when there's failure, you think, But if you give it to Krishna, there's no drama with the ego, and there's no drama with your failure, because you're ultimately surrendering everything to Krishna. So, does anybody have any questions before I finish off? Or any realizations? Any thoughts? Yes?
Wonderful class. So many insights. Thank you so much. So if you do your duty, but you don't feel happy doing that duty, in what kind of perspective do you try to change that duty? And in what kind of way do you then surrender?
Yeah. So this wonderful lady, what's your name? Eliana. Eliana is saying, what if you have to do your duty but you don't like it? Is that right?
Yeah.
And how do I deal with that?
Yeah, do you take control?
Yeah, do I take control? Well, it's a really good question, isn't it? Because, you know, some of us are in our duties, whether we're a student or a husband or a wife or a son or a daughter, and you don't fancy doing it because it's so inconvenient, it's awkward, it's tense, there's all of those things. Well, the lessons are in there for us, Eliana. The lessons are, what do I need to learn? Do I need patience? Do I need to be more compassionate? Because, you know, we think often the problem is out there. It's not with me because it's inconvenient. But actually, what it is it's actually teaching us deep within us, can I be more tolerant? Can I be more patient? Can I be more forgiving? Can I, like Krishna did today for us, he flipped the paradox so we can see failure in a different way. What does Krishna want me to see this in a different way? Because the reality is sometimes you don't choose your duty, it lands on your lap. So really it's teaching us probably to soften our heart. Yeah, because it's just, the issue is always an inside job. The inside job is there's something going on in me, not them. So therefore, it must be in me that I have